So as we look at the next question, factor completely, we have 8t squared plus 4t. So what we have is our two terms. What we're looking for is a greatest common factor to start with. So again, the GCF becomes a little bit tricky. Now there's all kinds of ways to organize this. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll organize a box and I'll put the 8t squared and the 4t in this little box and I will partition it. So what I have is an 8t squared and a 4t. What I want to do out in front is put what I see as a common factor in these two. So as far as the 8 and the 4 go, 4 seems like the biggest factor for that. For the t's, this has two t's, this has one t, so it looks like they have one t in common. So the GCF is 4t. Now what I can do now, though, is ask myself, instead of using division, I kind of use multiplication concepts. Because remember, in division, if I give you 3 into, say, 15, a lot of times what we'll say is, how many threes give me 15? Or in other words, what times 3 is 15? What times 3, 15 was 5. So let's say 3 times 5 would be the factors of 15. If 3 was one of them, I found the missing factor of 5. So let's how 4t becomes one of the factors of this expression. To find the missing factor, it's actually going to be a binomial. And to find this binomial, what we can do is go, what times 4t is 8t squared? Well, it looks like I need a 2 and a t. 2 times 2 is, I'm sorry, 2 times 4 is 8, and t times t is t squared. So essentially what I'm doing is dividing 8t squared, I'm dividing that by 4t, but I'm really using multiplication as opposed to division to do this. I'm asking myself, what times 4t gives me 8t squared? So if I do move to this next expression, what times 4t gives me 4t? Well, that'd have to be a 1. 1 times 4t is 4t. So what happens is the 4t becomes one factor, and in parentheses, the top becomes the other two factors. So 2t and a 1 or 2t plus 1 becomes the other factor. So a box could be a really interesting way to organize it to do what's called the factoring.